Hey everybody, Steven here, and today looking at Amazon Prime Day sales for Samsung Odyssey monitors. These are the most popular videos on the channel. I was only going to do posts today, but for the Odyssey monitors, I actually wanted to make a video. A lot to sort through here. We have some really good deals, and then we have some that are the illusion of a deal, and they're not really. So here I'm going to start with the most popular video that I have on the channel, which is the Samsung G5. With this is the newest model. I don't know why companies do this. They make it really confusing for the average consumer to sort through their naming system. This is the 2024 model here. So we should get some updates to firmware, hopefully panel type, things like that with this one over the previous ones. I reviewed the original one, so this should even perform better than that one. With this, two different sizes. We have 27-inch and the 32-inch. Looking at the 27-inch, normal price $300. Right now it is basically $200. So you're getting 34% off. You're getting $100 off. Looking at the 32-inch, normal price is $330. Discounted now to $240. Not quite $100. We're getting $90 off. Both of these I think are good deals because you're getting the newest model. If we go to the 2022 model, right now there's not even a sale. It's just $330. So obviously we're not going to want to go with that. It being the older model and it not having a sale. Here, what are the big draws? 32-inch or the 27-inch. Both of these have the 1000 R curve. We're getting the 165 hertz refresh rate and it is 1440p. I think the biggest draw for everybody typically though is the 1000 R curve with this, because it's one of the cheaper models that we got with that 1000 R curve first on the market when it was kind of just brand new, because I think Samsung was the first monitor to even have it. And so that's always just been the big draw with this. Pricing here, I think these are good deals. This is where it gets a little bit confusing, because then you look at the G50A. This is the 2022 model. Here, this isn't a 1000 R curve, but it still has the G5 name to it. But this is where you have to pay attention to the model number. So here, this isn't a VA panel like the regular G5, which is the G55C. With the G50A IPS panel, so the contrast ratio is the big difference between these two. 1000:1 with the G50A. Typically with a VA, you're going to get 3000:1. What does that mean? It just means that the black levels on IPS won't be as good as a VA panel. What's the trade-off? Typically, IPS panels are faster. So when we're looking at response time, it is better. Even if you're looking at both of these, for example, I believe are 1 millisecond MPRT, which is the motion picture response time. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of explaining motion picture response time, but it is not as fast as gray to gray. And so just both of these being the 1 millisecond motion picture response time, this should be slightly faster. Translating that to what you would see day to day, it should just have a little less ghosting when it comes to this monitor. Here, normal price is $450. Right now it's saying it's $409. Not really a sale with this. Looking at this other one, and I've reviewed the regular G5 and the G50A. I will make sure both of those are in the description. This one I have not reviewed. So this one, G51C, still flat, but from what I could find, this is a VA panel. It's not IPS. So they almost kept the molding from the regular G50A, but put a VA panel in it. Still getting the 165 hertz refresh rate and then 1 millisecond motion picture response time. So my assumption here is performance probably not as fast, although it is a 2023 model and not a 2022 model. So it may be closer, but you're going to get deeper, richer blacks with this over the G50A. And then again, that's the old model here. And then we're going to get G55C and then G5. This is on sale. So normal price, this is the 34-inch curved G5. I reviewed this as well. Normal price $550. It shouldn't be $550 at this point. So the sale price is $315. It should honestly just sit there. This not being labeled kind of a prime deal, my assumption is it probably just sits at this price potentially, but at this point it shouldn't even say that the list price is $550. This is a much older monitor at this point, but it still has the 1000R curve with it. You do get more ghosting with this panel. It is a VA panel as well. Shift over to the next one. So this is one of their newer ones. So this is the Odyssey G8, 240 hertz here. We're getting that OLED panel. This is going to be insanely fast. Just launched. And actually, I say just launched. Let's look at the actual launch date, June 4th, 2024. So this was last month. And so the OLED G8 and the G6 are kind of the big ones that I wanted to talk about with this as well. But here, I mean, it just launched and it was at $1,300. Now it's at $1,000, so we're getting 23% off. A lot of the OLEDs coming out, these 32-inch 4K OLEDs with the 240 hertz, they were all kind of in the similar price range. So this one being discounted to the $1,000, I think this is a pretty solid deal. Other ones that have launched earlier this year, they're kind of starting to sit towards this price as well. They're about $1,000 to $1,100. So this is one of the newer ones. Again, it just launching. So here, pretty awesome to see that it just immediately went on sale here. Next one. This is going to be the G50D. What was the other one? G50A. Again, the naming systems get confusing here. So here we have basically an updated version. We're taking it from the 165 hertz. We're actually getting it to 180 hertz. We're still getting a fast IPS. So we're going to have with this just slightly faster response time. I've not measured all of this. This is just a general statement with IPS versus VA. 1 millisecond, I hate when they don't list this, but 1 millisecond what? Again, most likely motion picture response time here. So usually they make sure that they advertise when it is gray to gray. They actually put that there. But here we go, 1 millisecond gray to gray. So this would be a lot faster. And let's confirm on this if it even says that. So 1 millisecond gray to gray, not motion picture response time. So this would be a lot faster than these other ones. So you're going to see a larger reduction in ghosting with the G50A over the G55C. It's been a while since I reviewed those. So I was like, man, I believe that they're gray to gray, but I'm not 100% sure. So just by default, motion picture response time. But no, that's going to be the bigger draw here is, again, the faster response time. And we're getting, with this particular model, the higher refresh rate. This should be 1440p. I don't know that they're going to, I guess down here, we'll see if they specify on that. No, I'm assuming at this size it's going to be. They're just not actually saying it. Again, odd when there we go, 1440p. It's hard for me to track down. I always find that odd. But with this normal price, $430, and right now it's $280. I would say take this over those other two. If we're dealing 32 inches, unless you really need that 1000R curve, I think that's going to be a better deal than these. This wasn't even on sale, right? Like, so just why would you go with the older model when you could get the newer model for what, $130 cheaper? And then over this model, right, 32 inch, $240, like pay the extra, what, $40, get a faster, higher refresh rate monitor with this. As long as, again, you just like are cool with not having the 1000R curve, which 1000R curve at 32 inches and 27 inches doesn't make as much sense. It makes more sense at 34 and higher for that type of very extreme curve. I think this is a very good deal. And I will have links for all of these in the description so you can find those there as well. 27 inch is normally $350, get $100 off. Now it's $250. just depends on the pixel density that you want. This is going to have a higher pixel density than the 32-inch, so I always prefer slightly larger with my monitors. I'd probably take the 32, but if you want this to look a little bit more crisp when it comes to text clarity, then go with the 27-inch. Next one, so this is the Samsung Odyssey G7B. This is a 28-inch monitor. We'll check out all the different variations that they have here. Normal price $700. Right now it's $450. So this is an IPS. I'm assuming then with this, all of their IPS are probably going to be gray to gray. But 144 hertz. This is 4K though. It's not 1440p. So we're jumping up in our resolution here. Odd that it's saying that this is 27. The listing is not matching here. I have reviewed this one too. With this, let's see if it jumps up in price a lot with the 32. So 32 at 4K makes more sense in my opinion than 27 at 4K. But that's normally 800 bucks. Now we're looking at 600 bucks. Flat, we're not going to get the 1000R curve. I'm going to go ahead and say that at this point, especially because we're looking at, I purchased this in 2021, this is outdated. It's not as good of a deal as it seems. But with this, if you're wanting 4K and you can get it at this price point, it's more competitive, I think, at this price point. And especially if you want to go with the Samsung Odyssey brand. It's even the regular, and this is the slightly older molding at this point, but it looks like the other G50A there. Here, I'm on the fence with this. It's okay. It's not a great deal like we're seeing with some of the other monitors here, but it's just, what are you looking for? Let's look at the 28-inch. It's the same one. So G70A. So this should be, I'm assuming this is the one I got. G70B is the newer one. So now we need to look at a launching date. So yeah, so this came out 2 years ago almost. That does make it a slightly better deal because we have an updated panel. So it's an okay deal. It's not a great deal. G65B. So with this is where when they started making more and more of these, it got more interesting because they're taking the original G7 and then they put it into this other bracket as a G6, but it's really a G7. So you're getting the 240 hertz like that had, 1 millisecond gray to gray, HDR 600, and then you're getting the 1000R curve. It literally is the original G7. It's just a different name. Did they take out the backlighting? Nope, everything is exactly the same. So I've reviewed this one as well. We have the 27-inch. Normally it's $700. It is not worth $700. This is where you can kind of compare though. Like if we're looking at the G5C versus the, what are we looking at here? The G70A. Do I need 4K with this? Like, do I want a 4K monitor over a 1440p versus like 180 hertz versus 240 hertz? Like, this is where you can start to like break down what are the things that you actually want with that, and then kind of do a light comparison and choose the one that is best suited for you. So here the draw is the high refresh rate. We get that 1 millisecond gray to gray. This is a VA panel, not an IPS. And then here you're still getting that 1000R curve. Again, one of the larger draws. So 27 inches, 380, 32 inches, 450. This is just an older model at this point, 450. It feels more competitive than it feels like a discount at this price point. But if it has the things that you really want, that is still something to consider. Next one. This one, yes. This one literally just launched. I actually picked this up for myself. I will be doing a review on this. 27-inch G6 0SD. So this is an OLED that is 360 hertz. Original price $900. Right now it's $665. Let's look at when this launched. June 4th, right? So just launched, just like the other one. So to see a discount with this, pretty awesome. And especially considering the fact that for $665, I'm getting an OLED, not an IPS, not a VA. I'm getting an OLED. This thing should be insanely fast. Now, once I do my testing, we'll see. Most of the ones I've reviewed that are OLEDs, they don't really touch the 0.03 milliseconds in terms of the response time, but they're still lightning fast. They're usually sub 1 millisecond. And the big draw for me is I've done a 27-inch 240 hertz. This one we're going to jump up and we're going to go to 360. Now, am I going to hit that in games? Like, most likely not. That is the weird spot that you find yourself in, is like, I'm not going to hit 360 hertz. I'm going to have to turn everything way down. Maybe a game or two, we'll see, but like, it's just not going to realistically hit that number in AAA games. You're always thinking like, hey, maybe I'm future proofing, but at that point, the thing I always talk about is like, by the time you actually get there and the hardware can really hit that, you're most likely going to be looking at the new monitors that are coming out anyways. This isn't 4K, this is 1440p, so resolution wise, it should be easier to hit than if I was looking at 4K. But excited to get this one in and actually do some testing on it. And this being the newer ones too, they do have the dynamic cooling system in it. That was one of the big draws here with that OLED. So, and they all are offering with all of theirs that 3-year warranty. I don't know that it'll list it right here. But I'm curious to see also with their OLEDs, because I haven't reviewed a Samsung OLED, what type of like screen protection with the panel menu and the various options you have with that you can do with these. All right, G4. Again, they're taking these monitors and they're like kind of close to some of the other ones and they're like shifting them over. So here, 25 inch, not a 27, not a 32, not a 28, 25 inch. Here, IPS panel. We're getting 240 hertz, which is awesome. But with this one, it's 1080p. It is not 1440p. So you're getting that drop in resolution, but it being smaller, it should be a similar pixel density, so it shouldn't look as bad as if you were to stretch that way out. Here for the response time, it is saying 1 millisecond gray to gray. Should be really fast with this. I think this is a solid deal. Normally 350, now you can pick it up for 200. But that's where, again, you compare all these different things that you may want, need. Do you want the higher resolution with this, or do you want the 1000R curve? Do you want 4K versus 1440p versus 1080p, all these things to actually consider with this. Then we have the G3. Here, G30A, 24 inch. And with this one, normally $200. This is right now sitting at 120, 144 hertz, 1080p. Let's see what it says for the, it just says 1 millisecond response time. Not even saying the panel type. My assumption here, we're probably leaning back towards VA, but it's also flat. So, does it list it there? It does not. Interesting. Let's see what we can find for the panel. VA panel. Yep. It's not going to get as bright either, because typical brightness here is 250 nits, or candelas per square metered. I still think it's a solid deal. I mean, you're looking at 144 hertz 1080p monitor for 120 bucks, which is a Samsung monitor, not another brand. I think this is a solid deal here. Let's look at the 27 inch. Not really a sale here. So you can go up. It's just at this point, once you get to 212, it's like, dude, you can get one of the other ones. It'll be better. Let's see, 32 inch here. 32 inch, 165 hertz. Normally 280. Get it for 150, but you're dealing in 1080p. So now you're stretching that out. This is going to look not nearly as sharp. It's going to look somewhat blurry and pixelated. I don't know that I would go for this one at 280, even though it's a good sale price at 150 bucks. It just, once you stretch out the image like that, it just, the clarity isn't there anymore. You have better deals with some of these other ones. Then we have the G8, specifically the G8 SB. So this one launched a couple years ago now, or was it last year? Not even gonna show me. 2022. So year and a half ago. So with this is an OLED, 34 inches here, 175 hertz refresh rate. We get that fast response time. 800 bucks when you're looking at some of the other things that are on the market. It's coming in slightly under some of the other OLEDs that are out there, because the Odyssey that I just reviewed, that one is a super ultra wide. You're dealing with 49-inch OLED. It is 144 hertz, but you can pick that one up. The lowest price I saw was $899. So 100 bucks more. You can go from 34 inches to 49 if you do want that super ultra wide. It's an okay deal, bordering on like just being like not really a deal. So it being slightly older, other things coming out, it's a little bit more competitive in this space. But the fact that these OLEDs are coming down, 34-inch ultra wide OLED for 800 bucks, it's a good sign that these are becoming slightly more attainable for most people when it comes to these OLEDs. Haven't reviewed this one though. This has the newer molding on it right there. So more streamlined, very thin. Then we have the super ultra wide here. We have the G9 SC. So this one, 240 hertz. This is an OLED here, correct? No, this is not an OLED. Yes, OLED. So 240 hertz, we're getting that super fast response time. This is normally $1,600. This one, $980. So, I mean, what, for 180 bucks? Now this is all before tax, of course. You can get a super ultra wide. When did this launch? So this was, I mean, a year ago. So it is a newer monitor as well. So this has the newer molding. I think this is a pretty decent deal. This makes it competitive with the Odyssey that I just reviewed, which I believe the Odyssey actually has this panel in it, or the older version of this panel, because it's the 144 hertz version. So you get a higher refresh rate than the Odyssey. Typical discount that I've seen for the Odyssey is $950. So, I mean, 30 bucks more, like, yeah, I'll jump up to 240 hertz over the 144. So I think this is a pretty solid deal here. And then now we can sort through the different variations of the G9s that we have. So this one, this is the older version. So normally $1,300, $800 now. What's the launch date of this one? This just launched this year. So what are we dealing with here? So 1000R curve with it. The other one that I just showcased that has a 1000R curve as well. 240 hertz, 1 millisecond gray to gray. So this is going to be what type of panel here? I'm assuming IPS. Do we get the local dimming? 1 millisecond gray to gray. Don't know that I'm seeing what this is. Yeah, I wish they would have that information more readily available. This looks like essentially they took the, they do this a lot. They take the previous version, so it's VA panel, and then they maybe update it a little bit, and then they put it in the new molding, and then they call it something new. Contrast ratio of 2500 to 1. It does hit that HDR 1000. I'm not seeing local dimming on this. The monitor utilizes quantum mini LED backlighting with local dimming for deep blacks. But if it's saying that, how many dimming zones? So, okay, so this is basically the one I reviewed a couple years ago, 1196. So this should be the one I actually reviewed, just a slightly different molding to make it look like the newer model that they have that's come out. 800 bucks. Oh man, you're so close to just an OLED. Ooh, that's a toss-up between this and the G8. I'd probably just spend a little bit extra and get an OLED. So here we have, this should be the one of the newer ones, right? This is the oldest one. So I believe this is the one I reviewed. Yeah. So this has the old molding with it. I mean, this is more expensive. This is not a discount. So don't get this one. So here, normal price $1,800, 40% off, $1,079. So we're getting an OLED 240 hertz. This is the 2023 model. It's an okay price. They've basically made it competitive with the newest models that have come out here. 1800 R curve. We're not getting the 1000 R curve. Yeah, June 12th, 2023. It's okay. I would compare this to the other models that have come out and just see if, do I need the 240 hertz? Do I want the newer OLED panel with this? And actually take that back, because some of these, like my Oris, it's basically this panel in a different molding for the most part, because the Oris is a Samsung panel. It's okay. We're teetering on not really a deal at this point. This one, G7. So this is the Neo G7. We have the 43 inch. So normal price $1,000. Right now it's $569, so $570. This is not a sale, by the way. This is what this normally sits at. It's been discounted towards a $500 for the last year or two. So here, there's still a draw towards this. My review's doing really well. People ask about this a lot. They comment with questions on the video. It's larger. It's like a TV, basically. It's okay. VA panel, more ghosting with this than the other ones. It's okay. At this price, though, just keep in mind, it is not a sale. The Neo G7, the QLED, there is no sale price there. Let's see. This would be the one we just looked at. That's for sure not a sale. 57 inch. So this one just launched. This thing is massive. When did this one launch? Well, a year ago. 57 inch, not 49. So ultra, like super wide. Like, I don't know. Thing's massive. So I believe with this one, once you get to 57 inch, is basically instead of two 27 inch monitors side by side, which is what a 49 inch super ultra wide is, this ends up being like two 32 monitors side by side. Dual 4K, so not 1440p, dual 4K. So you're getting a 1000 R curve, dual 4K, 240 hertz, 1 millisecond. It's not saying if it's saying it is gray to gray right there. Boom, boom. With this has 2,392 local dimming zones, and then it has the highest 12-bit black levels. It can hit 1,000 nits, peak brightness, 1,000:1 contrast ratio. I'm assuming that's dynamic, not static. It's still expensive. Like, for what it is, this is still expensive. But it's mini LED. You don't have to worry about burn-in with this compared to an OLED. I've not tried it myself, but the thing looks ridiculous. Normally $2,500. Right now, $1,600. It's a year old. I mean, it still has some cool stuff with it. I think we're just going to see this continue to come down in price the rest of the year. This may be a wait till Black Friday, see if it's cheaper, unless you just really need to pull the trigger on it now. But I'd still like to see this in person, because yeah, that size is ridiculous. Last one, not a sale. So this thing, like, it was unattainable for most people. It's a $3,000 monitor. So this is the Samsung Odyssey Arc. We have the second gen here versus the first gen. 4K, 1000 R curve, 165 hertz refresh rate. Are we getting 1 millisecond? It's not saying gray to gray, so it's going to be motion picture response time. I mean, this thing is just ginormous. What is first gen running? You can't even buy first gen. So here, reviews were all over the place. It does have the quantum mini LEDs, but like the input box was creating some issues. It didn't have HDMI 2.1 at the time. They would be advertising that if it had it now, right? But I mean, literally, you can make 4 screens out of this. Flip it up, right? That's ridiculous. I'd like to test it at some point, but $1,800. It's just been so discounted. Like right after launch, literally just like they're like, oh, this isn't selling, so they just dropped the price. Then it was like $2,500, and then $2,200, and then $2,000, and it's just been sitting in this like close to $2,000 price range for a long time. So another one that I expect is most likely going to be even cheaper come Black Friday. So it might be a good thing to wait on. Let's see if they say nope. Do they show the inputs? So let's see what local dimming is here. Local dimming zones, 1056 for that size. That's not great. Should have double or triple that. It's just way too big not to. What's crazy is that's 55-inch, but if you look at the other one, it was 57, just to give you like a reference point. Because again, this thing is massive. Think about a 55-inch TV in your home, but put a 1000 R curve on it, because this does have that 1000 R curve. No, I don't like, to me, this just isn't a deal. Wait, it should be cheaper by end of the year. So that is going to wrap this video up. I mean, to me, the best deal is the one I got, which is the new G6 that just launched. OLED, 360 hertz. Got it for $665. Like, it was $900, got it in a massive discount. I still think the G5s, if you go through those variations and you pick which one fits and has all the things that you're looking for, I think you can find a really good deal for those. Some of these other ones, just weigh your options before you pull the trigger. If you have any questions about this, let me know in the comment section. I will make sure to answer that for you there. Again, I will have links for all of these in the description as well if you want to pick that up. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the video, hit the like button for me, as it helps the channel out. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.